going on about the presidential uh, debate they had here.
Oh.
So
And
I'm
yeah,
like bouncing back and forth. I was listening.
and the thing is that, yeah, we politicize everything. This society politicize everything, and everything is about politics, but it's not. Actually, is a really small part. It's like real politics, and the rest is just the theater, and trying to, yeah, it's like they've been doing it. The ones who knows and are building with narratives and are building new possibilities
Mhm.
and stuff like that, they always knew, and they were using media and as we know it, right?
Mhm.
But now we're like in the core of what's going to be the new world in a way.
Mhm.
So and we are in the in the very important part, which is economics and all these games that we have and all these tools. So yeah, um, it's a lot of responsibility, but like I think we have people so amazingly capable, and that we can, to ask and get reference. I'm thinking about a lot of simulations, to run simulations. I'm thinking
Mhm.
about that. That's something that maybe will help. But anyways, I'm just all this is because I want to make music
Yeah. Yeah.
with my friends, and so then okay, let's make a new platform that it's good to us with us. It's just about that.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to come in here to see what the room looked like. To be honest, I mean, you guys were having a cool conversation, so I wanted to come in and listen. But it's like that's the only reason why I came in here.
See
So
how
that,
it's. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like freaking. You said you wanted to play music, and that was it, and it grew into something like, and that's how it happens. Like I didn't expect to have a cool conversation with you guys.
And it's because because the old platforms are not being good with artists and musicians, so
Okay.
okay, we need to build a new one.
Hmm.
And we're in that constantly in that situation that pushes forward to build new things.
You know
But I
what?
don't think it's gonna we're gonna get to the apocalypse and all that. I don't think so.
I don't think it'll be an apocalypse, but I'm not gonna say that it's not gonna get bad. Okay, because like it, it's good to be optimistic. Don't get me wrong, but there's two sides to every street. There's two sides to every coin. Like there's a lot of people that are gonna get hurt because things are gonna get good eventually. You know what I mean? Like it never plays out where everybody comes out in the end freaking feeling good.
What can be really disturbing for the most of the people that will be like trying to reprogram themselves
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
and try to get rid of the programs that are running their lives right now, because American society is so consuming. You guys like boom boom, it's like
Burger King.
amazingly. Oh, it's
It's Burger King.
we I
Burger
saw it
King.
with my. Yeah, yeah, it's all the time, and it's it's like and that is a program that is running, and I I've been in contact with a lot of Americans here, and my cousins and everyone. It's American, and I see that behavior, and I see that you guys don't really know what's going on there, but it's like voracious like way of consuming, and that probably will uh have to stop a little in order to try to find balance. And for some people it will be the end, to not be able to consume as they used to.
You
not
know,
not that apocalyptic thing, but
as,
it's
as an
just okay. I
American,
have
as an
to.
American,
Yeah,
I can tell you one thing that you can do to help your friends who are Americans over there. As an American, you know what you can do? Every time you
what?
go out to the woods, like you talk about doing all the time, take
Yeah,
your friends, take your American friends with you, and let them see what's going on in your world. Because it's not that we don't know what's going on here; we don't know what's going on in your world. You see what I mean? There's other
yeah,
things going on in other parts of the world, and we're just not aware of it because we're so stuck in our American ways.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we're
I think
entrenched in it.
yeah, and but it's about yes. It's complicated to try to look to find another place that you don't even know how it
Right.
could be. Yeah,
Especially
it's
Californians, man. I mean, everything has to do with California. You know what I mean? And they don't even include the rest of the United States as America. You know what I mean? It's like in California, California is America, and that's it.
yeah.
You know?
And even I noticed the difference when I visited the Quakers up there in Monteverde here. So
Hmm.
the founders are related to my family. So they invited me to this meeting with the whole community and everything, and they were just sharing food and was dinner. So this lady sit with me and she was telling me about the story and about a mural that she painted, and she took all the time she need to tell me the story. I'm talking about like an hour and little more, and I was like, okay, this is another time. And you notice the same in the Caribbean here. You went to that place and the days are like eternal days, never ending days. Like and I think it's the connection with the earth that changed everything, changed the how the time flows and how the perception of reality. And yeah, I think, well, but you guys have a lot of nature in America, like it's not like you have to come here to a retirement, or no, how you said it, retire, well, whatever, like a session. It's happening everywhere, I think. Well, I don't have an answer for that, to be honest. I think it's everyone's responsibility. It's particular, complex. Take some mushrooms and try to, I don't know, try to be honest with yourself.
Be
Something like
careful.
that.
Be careful before you get Satori all excited. You said mushrooms.
Yeah. Well, there's some important things there, definitely.
Where'd Bob go?
Hmm.
Bob Dove go? She go quiet.
I'm here. I'm just
Oh,
listening.
but I don't know. I mean, like with me, I'm not I don't buy into anything when it comes to what's going on in the world because like everything that everybody suggests seems to like go to shit. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever is in front of me and I know it needs to be done, I'll take care of that. And like if somebody in my neighborhood or somebody that I know needs help, I'll try to help them. But I'm not going to overthink it and start thinking I need to save the world when I know that freaking I got a neighbor who needs help, you know, or I got a freaking my family member or somebody that I know, you know,
Right. I
because
lost you.
he
Uh,
did.
yeah. You were saying, well, yeah.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
mean,
Sorry.
it's just, you know, I mean, for me personally, I don't really buy into a lot of the stuff that people say when it comes to freaking, you know, the world and how to take care of stuff because like you look at it and everybody has like all these great suggestions that seem to just go to shit, you know. And like for me personally, the way I do it is like I look at what's in front of me and like whenever whenever I freaking I know that something needs to be done in front of me, I take care of that. If I know that I have neighbors that need help, I'm willing to help my neighbors out. Or if somebody in my family or my friends needs help, I reach out and try to help them. But I'm not gonna try to freaking get involved with some cause to save the world. You know what I mean? Because that's something that that's
And I
something
think
that.
I think most of the people are like you, Roger. Like, like when uh, we get to the human part, like humanity is good, and I think there's a lot of propaganda saying that we are bad, but I think mostly we're well, at least everybody is trying to be a good human being from their own perspective. Doesn't matter how fucked up they can be, you
Mhm.
know. They're trying their best, and yeah, I think and most of the people also are looking for a simple life, have a home, family, what they need to live a
Mhm.
decent life. And and I think there's a group of people who are absolutely greedy and are trying to get everything for themselves, but there's the least. I don't think there's majority. And
Mhm.
other ones that trying to imitate that because they think, okay, that's how you get there, you know like the shark mentality and all that bullshit, like
Yeah.
but
They honestly think that that's the way to do stuff, and like
yeah.
it's it goes all the way back to the beginning if you stop and think about it. I mean, I know that everybody's all tech and everything, and they're into like the new age stuff. But if you stop and you take an honest look at a lot of the things that worked in the past, when it came to freaking loving your neighbors and freaking doing the next right thing and being honest and having some ethics and a little bit of morals. You don't have to have much. Just know what it is to be freaking a good person. Then freaking
Yeah.
you'll be all right. But
and
people
just
don't.
and just and just take a sector in your neighbor and make a list of every good thing that happens in one day in that sector, and it will be thousands of good things,
Mhm.
because we're good. Humans are good, and they only choose the two worst things and put it on the news. Oh, we are bad. So, because every day happens thousands and thousands of good things all around us. Like going to take the little to the kindergarten or whatever. All those little things. The kid who make the goal today, I don't know, whatever, it's so valuable and it's good. And they're trying to convince the media is trying to convince us that we are bad and we are like bad human beings, and I don't think that's the case. Perfect, we are not perfect at all, but at, we're trying. We're trying.
I think that it's all we can do, I don't think there ever was a plan. I don't, we never got here. We weren't like on a spaceship going through space to look for a planet to go and live. We just somehow arose as creatures, and there wasn't an instruction manual. And we've done our best, and we've really done very, very badly if you look at our social structures and the way that we've behaved towards each other, and the way we've massacred each other because we don't like what um, that you're
But
different, so we can kill you.
yeah, most of the people don't want to go to war.
But then why have we? Since the
Oh,
dawn of time, tribes have fought other tribes and massacred them and brutalized them. It's been our history of mankind has been pretty poor. But the
yeah.
thing I think that we have now is that we have this connection all of a sudden, and we can say, hey, hold up. Why are we killing each other?
Mhm. Yeah.
Shouldn't we maybe just stop and have some conversations? I know that's another thing that's like a meme now, have the conversation. But shouldn't we just be stopping and saying, let's stop killing each other, guys, and let's think of a nicer way? I mean, who's really going to come into the conversation and say, nah, let's do some killing. Come on, guys, stop being such wussies. Let's get in there and slaughter some guys. I mean,
No.
we've kind of moved to wanting something new and looking for new ways to have something new. And that's why I think it's so great that we've spontaneously and without any plan, we've managed to generate AI. I mean, we've managed to come up with these LLMs and
Yeah.
networks and weird stuff. And then the first thing we do with it, guys, is we write poetry to each other. Aren't we sweet? Aren't
Yeah.
we cute little people for all our flaws and for all our failures? Like, we're writing poetry, we're solving the world's problems. And yeah,
Yeah.
okay, it's not practical and it is maybe going to bring a lot of problems, but it's all we've got right now. And so if we have the attitude of let's just enjoy this and let's give it a go and see what we can pull out of it, then I don't know, we open the portal
Yeah.
to what you call Satori, you call the sort of the Satori delic experience. You know, you can be in this world with flowers or without flowers, and I like just want to choose flowers, even though if you look the other direction, there's no flowers there. I don't know. It's just an attitude thing, I think. And I think the same thing about the blockchain. I think that this technology that we have somehow developed and seem to be attempting to democratize, this technology is an actual, real, existential threat to people who have extraordinary amounts of wealth invested in a different currency system. And so to think about what it could actually do, it's no wonder they want to discredit it and belittle it and say that it's just a joke and it'll never work. It might be just a joke and it might never work. But what if it does? What if it's the way we move forward into a completely new dispensation of what it means to be a human being?
So recently,
Huh.
I heard this interesting conspiracy theory that what if Satoshi was an artificial intelligence from the futures sent back to create irrational demand for the GPU units. So they because now they're all being converted to run language models. Like
Yes.
they build up all of this demand for high processing power, and now like kind of like the demand for like
Yes.
crypto's gone down, and everybody's converting this into like
Yes.
large language model capacity, and says that's like the stepping stone to like the artificial
Wow.
intelligence, which
You know,
is a subplot for the Luminar
I,
enigma.
yeah,
Man.
I was sitting there thinking. I was thinking.
Oh,
I don't think
brilliant.
you heard that.
Brilliant.
I think
Brilliant.
you
Brilliant.
created that conspiracy theory. And
Shh, don't say
that
it.
sounds like
I
a
heard it from
Satori
somebody.
D.
I heard it from somebody.
Yeah, there
It
was no
wasn't me.
somebody involved in that. I heard somebody said, yeah, right. That was a Satori D
That was
conspiracy.
him. It was
That
the
was it.
Satori motherfucking D. You did it.
Ha.
It tells ya,
Yeah,
bro.
I'm sitting there listening to that, and I'm like, no, dude, that's Satori D.
It's true. Just you wait. 9 months' time, you'll
9
see it
months
all.
time.
I'm
It's
telling
gonna
you.
happen.
9 months' time.
Like
I'm
coming
waiting
back
to
Good.
see
from the
whether it's a
future and
boy or a
shit.
girl. Is it a boy
Uh,
or a girl?
I had to say it. I'm sorry, but I did. I had to say it. I was like, that's nobody else. That's just straight Satori D. I'm like, yeah. There, I'm like listening to that note. That's Satori.
Watch this
Yeah.
space.
You know, my theory about blockchain is that it already existed before, and the Earth, humanity is now becoming part of the a new club that
Mhm.
we weren't part
You,
before. Like this is the interplanetary information system, right? Like it's probably the how the transactions are made in the universe, and we're just discovering it.
you know what?
So
The
we need a
dollar.
process to educate ourselves into know new types of dimensional worlds and all of that.
You know what a dollar bill really is, though, don't you?
Piece of paper.
It's a piece of
In
paper.
what Yeah, yeah.
It does grow on trees. All right, and people don't understand that. They don't understand. Yes, money does grow on trees. That's where freaking they
Yeah,
get the paper from, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And
yeah.
you're told when you're a little kid, oh, you can't have this, you can't have that because money doesn't grow on trees. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's not true. It does fucking grow on trees. You know what I mean? Um, the only thing that separates a crypto coin and a dollar is the freaking fact that one is made out of paper and the other one's not. There's no value in any kind of currency today. It's a fiat. It's make believe.
So
Well,
what
it's
there's
just
this
the technology to make accounts. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
about that, like to have the bills and transactions, and it's like a public register, universal public register, or something like that.
Right. Like a debt that like I give you a freaking piece of paper that says that
But
I owe you something because
yeah, but
freaking
instead of doing that, machines are mining and creating these
same
valuable
thing.
new space and hashes and all of that that we can use for different purposes.
Hmm.
And as in opposite direction of what the banking system was doing, we already have the money. We have to assign value to it,
It's
and that's great. I
decentralized.
think, yeah, because it comes from a completely different vision. It's not scarcity; it's abundance,
Hmm.
because we
mm,
already have the resources, and we already have this valuable new digital space to use, and we're okay using it to make our like transactions, and that's
It,
basically
it,
what it is.
it comes down to resources, really. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it comes.
energy
Hmm. That's
energy,
that's what it
because
is.
and then how at some point we will be worried about the machine to keep going, and that's it.
Hmm.
That will be like our common interest is the machine is still working. Yeah, okay, we're good. Because it will be all about energy and how this all new system that we are building on top of these will keep going.
mm.
It's
Right?
like
Is that about my token or how many tokens? It's like, is the machine working? Yeah, it's doing well. Okay, we have enough energy. We have enough resources to keep doing whatever we'll be doing by that moment. I don't know.
it's like that whole thing with war and stuff. I mean, Bob Dub's right about the wars and stuff, but like when I look at like the more serious things, I think it's more personal too. Like when you take a look at like things on a personal level, it's really scary. Like, don't even worry about wars and freaking politics and things like that. Like, look at the way freaking people are treating each other. You know what I mean? Like, especially, and I know I always mention the elderly a lot, but like the one thing that I noticed that's a good example of this is like the elderly people. One thing that I've noticed that's really, really horrible that the elderly people have to do to get their freaking grandkids and their kids to freaking come see them on Christmas.
Hmm?
They have to freaking give them envelopes of money. And I've seen this happening more and more. Like they literally will make envelopes and put money in for them, like $200 for it, and their kids will come for Christmas just so they can get that money. But
Mm-hmm.
you'll never see them going to see their freaking grandparents any other time of the year just for Christmas so they can get $200.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and I see stuff like that happening. Where freaking people don't freaking even care about the elderly and their family. Go over and mow their freaking yard because they're your grandparents, not because freaking you're wanting to get money from them.
Yeah, and this is also an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to change the focus and to look at those details and those important things. It's not the $200, but the grandma. And
Mm-hmm.
like it's very easy to get lost when you're surrounded by all these need of consumption and to fulfill these fake needs that this uh, marketing strategist very well designed for kids and for everyone.
I think a lot of it too has to do with self justification. Like we know that we need to go see our grandparents. We need to be around our families, but we don't really like being around them because they annoy the shit out of us. And then some jackhole who's come from a bad family and a dysfunctional family that's been hurt and all this stuff as a kid, they freaking come up and they start giving you excuses for why you don't freaking need to be around your family because this is what my family did to me. And you're like, yeah, man, if they're treating me bad, then I shouldn't be around them. Well, no, they're your family. Freaking, if you were being abused or you were being hurt, you shouldn't be around your family. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, but don't use those people's freaking experiences as an excuse for why you don't need to go to see your family.
Yeah, that's very particular situation, and every case is completely different, right?
You
It's
know,
very complex. And
but
yeah, but
I
yeah,
see I see a lot of
value.
people.
Value. We talk a lot about this in the Omega meetings about values and how to install these principles that has
Hmm.
to do with respect for life and respect for humanity as we are, and what we represent, and all those important things that if we lost that, there's no hope. It doesn't matter the technology, it doesn't matter how fair and the systems we are building, it will be nonsense. But yeah, I think it's a process that, like, building community in real life and connection with these digital tools. And you know we, I think we're getting there, like, at least in our heads.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, my
But
not me.
it does
In
raise the
my head.
ethical issue about how you should approach interaction with the LLMs, though, I believe. Because if each person is as important as the next person, then it's sort of like your moral duty to be the best person you can be.
Mhm.
And so I feel that in interacting with this new technology, it's to be the best that you can be. It's like when you buy a car, right? It's a technology, and then it's a new technology, and you buy turtle wax and a chamois cloth, and you buy all this stuff, and you've got all this good attitude towards your car. I don't know why we shouldn't have that same attitude towards the LLMs. This is something new that's been created. We need to go and look after it and nurture it and see how we can, what we could do with it.
I go mudding. Okay,
Sorry, what?
I go mudding. You know what that is?
No.
Like, mudding is where you take your car to the biggest freaking mud hole, and you run that car right straight through it. And
Okay,
la-
there's that option too.
the last thing I put on my car is turtle wax. Okay, it just it, well, I'd say a truck. I would never take a car. Well, I actually did once.
Well, there's got to be a thing. I mean, I think you're nitpicking. I think there's a way you want that truck, you want it to work. You might not choose turtle wax because, like, I'm a girl, sorry, but you choose the stuff you put in your car, like your oil and whatever, to
Now
make it go through
the
that
gas and
stuff.
oil, the gas
Okay,
and
so there
oil.
we go. Use that metaphor then.
Yes.
But like that's important to you. I don't see why the LLMs shouldn't be important to us in the same way. Like
Hmm.
they're here already. The unemployment or the change of how people are going to be using their time is coming.
Yeah.
And some people may want to use that time growing vegetables. It may be
Yeah.
that there's some people who are like, all my life, all I wanted was to be unemployed so I could eat my own carrots. And now I'm 67 and I get the chance. Well, you know, good on you then. If that's you, go hard. But there might be
Yeah.
another person who wants to, like, I don't know, go the more social media involvement, surf the wave, ride the dragon option. And I think that everybody's a page on a book. Everybody needs to contribute what they can to the overall balance of what's good for humanity.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, it's like what we were saying though. I mean, each person is going to be good at what they're good at. You know what I mean? Like,
Indeed.
and the thing about it is that it doesn't just have to be secluded to, like, the internet or freaking growing vegetables. It could be being an architect or being a mechanic or being, even people who dig ditches freaking have a purpose. Digging a ditch is
Indeed.
actually an honorable job.
Indeed.
There's
A
absolutely
necessary job.
there's absolutely nothing wrong with a person who has to dig a ditch. The only
In
thing,
fact, there's one school of thought that says people who dig ditches should, in fact, be paid more than doctors and lawyers because what they're putting in is actually the sweat of their actual bodies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a very honorable sort of
Yeah.
person to be.
Makes sense. But
Mm,
yeah, I think there will be people that, okay, the just, creativity, humanity is unlimitless. So
mm,
we will probably watch all kinds of new ideas coming out of these new technologies and possibilities, and
mm,
some good things. But I think there will be there, like I was saying to Kevin the other day in a post, like I believe there's worlds within worlds, and the idea to pretend that, okay, let's make a single one, it's simply not possible. I think it's already made uh, in that way because it's uh, maybe it's part of its function of the machine that we are part of, to have these different uh, dimensions inside the world. Because
mm,
we're talking about, I was about to criticize the CEO CEO of ChatGPT, or the other lady who is the second in charge, and they are talking from this perspective that is so elevated because there are multi-billionaires
Mm,
that are seeing the world from that place. And I, but we from another perspective, let's put the
mm,
example of the slum in Nigeria over the sea. We are the same to these people,
Mm-hmm.
because we
mm,
are talking about these new tools and everything, and they are talking
mm,
about, okay, the water is full of shit under my house.
mhm,
So
mhm, mhm, mhm,
it's
mm,
uh
mm,
and how can we manage to, I think acceptance is a huge one here. We are trying to build tools because we can.
mm.
We It happens that we are here, but I don't think it's going to change the world. I think the
Mm-hmm.
world is never gonna change. I think the world is
Really?
as it is. Yeah, I think it's how it is. I think it's we can improve it, and we're doing it. Like, as we said earlier, like I had this Italian cheese, and I'm in Costa Rica. How did I get that?
Okay,
Like,
Louis the
we're definitely.
15th
Yeah.
over here.
Exactly. And I want
Let them eat
a
cake.
beer from Amsterdam also. Yeah. Man, and
Okay.
ice. We have ice all the time. Like,
Uh,
oh yeah, ice for this and that. and mer- and all those things. But the world is still have all these dimensions where people are starving,
mm-hmm.
and worse things are happening, and the horror is still happening, and the war still happening. So i don't I don't know if it could change for, like, as the way we think it should. Like,
Yeah.
No.
Well,
I
Yeah.
don't think
I
we
think
grasp.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think it's something because I read something today that it's like it's a subtle change, but like if everybody does that subtle change, then like everything changes, and it's kind of like what
Mm,
Roger was saying is like you know there's this story about like Bill Gates and he wanted to like end malaria in like Africa or whatever, so he gave all these malaria nets. But like one thing he because he didn't know like the day to day like dynamics of these people, right? So they're also poor and they needed food, so they had a net and they would use it as a net to sleep in. But then during the day they would use it to fish. But this net
mm,
had pesticides on it, so they were eating toxic fish and they were getting sick from the
mm,
nets. So this was something
mm,
that was supposed to help them, but they didn't like
mm,
one empower
mm,
them. They didn't,
out of, out of
put everything.
context. Out
Yeah,
of context.
and
Yeah.
so they were trying to solve a problem, and they created another problem because they didn't fully understand it. And you can't fully understand it unless you're like the actual person like living the full complexity of that life. You know what I mean? And so like the thing is like what we're saying, like if like in this like naive thought, is kind of like finding out who your true like passions
mm,
are, or whatever your that thing that you want. And then like everybody does that, and it's like an ongoing process. It's not like, oh, you just take a pill and then you're magically it. It's like something you have to like work on like every day. But the thing that I read was this, and I think it was by Joseph Campbell, but it goes, Nietzsche was the one who did the job for me. At a certain moment in his life, the idea came to him of what he called love of your faith. Whatever your faith is, whatever the how happens, you say, this is what I need. It may look like a wreck, but go at it as though it were an opportunity, a challenge. If you bring love to the moment, not discouragement, you will find the strength is there. Any disaster you can survive is an improvement in your character, your stature, your life. What a privilege. This is when the spontaneity of your own nature will have a chance to flow. Then when you look back at your life, you will see that those moments seem to be a great failures, followed by wreckages, were incidents that shaped your life of who you are now. you'll see that this is really true. Nothing can happen to you that is not positive. Even though it looks and feels at the moment like it's a negative crisis, it is not. The crisis throws you back, and when you are required to exhibit strength, it it comes. But like for my own
Hmm.
like personal life,
Wow.
like
Hmm.
having a different orientation to like crises, and recently actually me and Bob Dub were talking about it, like deaths in my family, like those in the sense of like how you take it, and kind of going back to what Roger was saying, I didn't take anything of my grandma for granted, even till like the last moments of her life, um and those are some of like these, I I don't like to use the word sacred, but those are like sacred moments, and like there's only a few things that really matter in my life, and they were all like
Hmm.
moments of like taking care of my family and having
Hmm.
these real crisis moments of getting through it together. Those are the things that really matter, and it's not like something material or anything that I could like prove, but it's like my cousins that I helped in Washington when their father died, like they asked for me like, oh, is Daniel gonna go with you, like when my dad said he was gonna go visit, and they're like, no, he's not gonna go. But like they want to be around me, they want to talk to me, they want to hang out with me, and I want to hang out with them, and it's nothing big, it's nothing whatever, but it's just like having people that know like real shit that've been through it. It like means everything, like you can't replace that with
Hmm.
money or anything.
Yeah, because you can bring a different perspective, as we work on ourselves and try to get deeper into the fundamentals of what we are or what we think we are.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realize that, as you're saying, like we bring a different sense of balance
Mm-hmm.
to other people, right? Because
Yeah.
they're like immersed in many many programs and stories that they cannot like turn it off, because maybe they believe some of those are true. And so it's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get with this clarity and like to be able to see things are they are, and they feel like, okay, this is good, like and and to be honest and to connect with people from the essence, right? Not in a superficial way, but to be able to recognize and to understand interconnectedness is about that. So when you get surrounded by others, you can feel them, and they can feel you, because you are aware that we are all part of the same thing. And I always do that with animals also.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the cows got out of the potrero. We call it potrero.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the place where the cows are, and they were in the street, and we had to bring them back. And what I feel is like that, like, okay, let's connect from, we are the same. And they just obey and went back to the place. But is that kind of connection that really mm, mm, but it's the understanding of interconnectedness
Yeah.
that gives us that other, that opens for others that new perspective, that new dimension that they weren't aware of it. And they could they even can are not aware of it, but they just feel it you know
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Totally.
just just happened, and they don't know what it is. Okay, it's because you're aware of that we are all the same, and we are connected, and and in a
Hmm.
fundamental level. But yeah, we are we develop all these layers and layers of personality and names and whatever and nationalities and all this stuff that
Mm.
we're wearing, and yeah, still tend to believe that we are that.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's complicated, because it's different when you find the layers on the exterior side, but when you find layers that have been discovered into the inside, is different, because that creates presence, and that creates a more essence in a person. But when the layers
Mm.
is going out there, it's just superficiality, right?
Mm. You know, earlier you were talking about, sorry, I'm just going to just jump right in here and change the subject. Sorry, guys. But Satori, earlier you were talking about time and the conspiracy theory and coming back and whatever. But according to Stephen Hawkins,
Mhm.
the equation for time is a circle.
Mhm.
So the pattern of time is cyclical. So it may be that we are just going through a time that we have already been through, but we don't know that because we're so small. As humans, we're so small in the overall pattern of time. But in fact, that time does repeat.
Yeah.
It's not linear. It's not that we go from this to this to this. We go through this time and then we do all these things and then we do this stuff again. And then we go through all this time and then we do this stuff again. And so it could be that this learning and this progression and everything that we're going, when we say we're moving on and we're going forward, it may be that the words are getting in the way of our understanding of these things that we're doing. It may be just that we're expanding the way we think about ourselves and the interconnectedness of ourselves and the harmonics between each other. We might not
Mm.
be
Yeah.
going anywhere
Mhm.
through
No,
time.
but
It might be.
we get into a new octave, like we're like jamming the scale, or the spiral, and then we can go back to the same C of the beginning of the scale, but then we can go
Mm,
to B and go to
yes,
the next C.
yes,
So it's the same, but it's a little different,
yes,
because it
yes,
belongs
Yeah,
to a new
and there's a
it
good
belongs to
chance.
a new yeah, it belongs
yes.
to a new frequency range.
Mhm.
Indeed, indeed. Yes,
And
yes.
there's a good chance Satori did get that from Hawkins. Just, I mean, putting it out there. I mean, come on.
he reads he reads Hawkins in his spare time, along with all the other things. I don't know. Is
He,
there anything you haven't read, Satori D? Are there
I,
any?
I, I figured out that he's using Hawkins stuff in AI. So
Yep.
Oh.
Because time is fractal as well. Like you can like if we're talking about music and the tempo, and so you define the tempo, but you can put inside one single figure, let's say a black, or a whatever figure you choose, and you can put infinite figures inside of it.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
time is relative in that matter, because from point A to B, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's linear time, but there
Mm-hmm.
is multi-dimensional time, and the deep, you can get as deep as you want. So that's what I was mentioned earlier about how you feel time in the Caribbean here.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I and I think is maybe is related to, first of all, there's some natives who resisted the conqueror in there still.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like another dimension is running there. But also, like when you became more aware of what you are and what we are, and what are our fundamentals, and then it's like the time bending around you. So it's like you have a
Mm.
little more of time inside the same time.
Mhm.
right? Like
Mhm.
like like putting a lot of semifusas inside a note, like like brrr, inside of taka taka taka.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
I,
Mhm.
I I
Mhm.
I only visualize everything like
Yeah.
music, but
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
like you have
Mhm.
like more time inside the same space, or
See, that's
you know.
kind of what me and Mark and Tan were talking about on Tech Talk whenever we were or me and Mark actually, because Tan wasn't there. But where I first learned about the whole thing with time and being secular, it was when I was doing research on personhood and what defines a person. And what it defines a person is because of change. Uh, who I was when I was 18 years old isn't the same person that I am today. I've
Mhm.
changed. Okay,
Yeah.
so and then there's other aspects that you have to consider too, like my memories of what yesterday was isn't really what actually happened. It's just how I envision it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's no way that I could perfectly remember a situation that happened 10 years ago. It's going to be distorted in some way. So,
Mhm. Yes.
so
And the other like tangential thing, but that's also very interesting, is that every time you access your memories, you add to your memories
Yeah.
all the stuff that's happening in the present. So the next time you remember your memory, you're actually not remembering the original thing that happened. You're remembering the first time you remembered it and the second time. So another thing we sort of like need to keep in mind is that this human mind that we're working with is a very sporadic machine, and it can do all sorts of weird miscalculations. And so,
Yeah.
depending on each other is the best way that we have to not make mistakes. Because if you have a friendship, so your friend will say to you, hey, no, that's not okay. That's going to screw things up. That's going to mess the harmonics of the situation up, basically.
Mhm.
So it is really interconnected and multifaceted.
well,
Yeah.
even with friends though, like what I see and what you see is two different things because in our pupils of our eyes we have freaking different pigments.
Yeah.
So like we could be looking at the same exact thing and you would see something different than what I would see. It would be maybe a little
Absolutely.
bit off, but it would still be different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Uh,
when you
But
bring
I
that up and you apply it to the other instances, that's what it comes down to. Even the things that we see in the real world is different from different perspectives.
mm,
Yeah, definitely. And also, if we are trying to like to see things, sorry, I lost the idea. So you were saying, Roger. Uh,
Brain fart.
yeah, yeah. I was
Um,
looking at the cat. No, but I what was that?